whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako. Kōrero flowing out the hook of force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā kona whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira hira whakarongo pi kari kari mai. Hare hare mai, o Taringa hare hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
E te iwi, tēnā rā koutou katoa, nau mai hoki mai. Welcome back to this installment of Taringa. And anei māo ko taku hoa nei, māo ko te puaheiri, a.k.a. Snow.
Ooh.
E, do you feel the chill?
He maeke, he kōpeke.
He kōpeke. There's one of those ngāpui words, eh?
Yeah.
Kōpeke.
Kōpeke.
Cold.
Cold for those ones.
Yeah.
And down here in the bustling metropolis of Te Awamutu,
Yes.
Maeke, is it?
Maeke. You hear maeke, and to everybody else probably just be makariri, but there's some more words you can add to your vocabulary, and then there's mātautau. That's another one.
Right.
Well, we're on cold. And anu's another one.
Pai tēnā.
Yeah, te anu te mātautau. Hoi anō, it's all hot in here, it's happening in our recording studio, so anei māua e mihati nei tēnā koutou. And we're back with Kupu. But before we get into Kupu, Kiwaha. Our kiwaha, it's a kianga, I guess, it's a phrase you can use, and it's an expression, and it is...
Kōrero.
Kōrero means to speak.
Yep.
But in this context, you can sort of use it in a cheeky way, eh? Sometimes, eh?
Yeah. Well, I know the coasties, they have a word for when people are talking a bit too much, or they're going on about something, they're like, chalk it up, bro. Oh, this fish was this big, or I stepped a half back and I was 100 meter trial. Kōrero.
Sometimes too, I think that kōrero, depending how you use it, can be like, preach it.
Preach.
Yeah, preach.
Mm-hmm.
So, koe nā tātou kōrero I tēnei rā e hōma, kōrero.
Before we go on, what's the difference between a kianga and a kiwaha?
Good question. A kiwaha is not as literal as a kianga. So a kianga is an expression.
The expression of a certain word, where
Yeah.
a kiwaha could be a set of words but isn't literal.
Yeah.
You get that,
If you
listener?
try to translate a kiwaha as we've said, you have some difficulty.
It'll put you out. Yeah.
That's where people stuff up and they try and, like I remember someone saying to me, and I think we've had ka mau te wehi, which means like, amazing, or whoa. So it says, how do you catch ka mau te wehi? How did you catch the
How did you catch that?
whale?
Yeah.
No, you're getting it all wrong.
Yeah. I remember they takes me back to a time when I was at school and we had this fella, and he was from the islands.
Oh, yeah.
And he was doing something wrong, and the teacher said cut it out, and so he cut this thing out. So, he took the literal meaning of a figure of speech. So for those that are learning kiwaha and kianga, be careful.
Yeah. Well, as you're talking like that, I'm thinking of one of my nephews, who I won't name, and this is a funny story, but this was when he was quite young. He's like a grown adult, and he's got a family, but when he was little, he used to be a little bit slow, and anyway, he dropped something on the floor. Looks at his dad and says, what do I do, Dad? And he goes, I don't know, wipe it up. My nephew goes, what shall I wipe it up with? And he goes, I don't know, your ass. Well, he said, he went on to sit on the kitchen floor and smeared, when they're around, poor boy.
Oh.
Yeah, ka roha nephew, if you're listening, I won't name you. Kōrero. Koe nā tātou kianga, you might hear us using it. And our kaupapa kōrero today it's sort of borderline on, we've talked about rangi and mita, colloquialisms, I've called them nativisms. They're expressions or words, just the way some native speakers speak. And I'm very careful when I use that word, native speaker.
Yep.
For me, my interpretation of a native speaker is someone who's grown up in the reo in a certain period of time, and there's not many alive now, say, probably 80s, 90s, who grew up in a Māori speaking whānau or community where te reo Māori was the prominent language in their home, i ngā wā katoa.
Ai.
Yeah, ki au koena te native speaker, and I'm very careful because I know some cultures, they deify almost the native speaker.
Yes.
And we do too.
Yep.
And saying that, us as native speakers of the English language, being brought up in te reo Māori, we make mistakes when we speak English. And it's the same with someone who's been brought up with te reo Māori. So I don't want to get into that kōrero debate because that's language, how we use it. And we're not going to talk about grammar and things like that in this session. But yeah, it leads us on to other sort of interesting discussions about native speakers versus first language speakers and what a first language speaker is. And we were just having a conversation before that I've changed my philosophy. So I'm not a first, as someone would define me, a first language. I didn't go to Kuangareo, I didn't grow up in a Māori speaking family. I roto i te tai whānau kōrero Māori. I was around te reo Māori a lot when I was with my kuia and at the pā. But people wouldn't say I'm a first language speaker because I didn't grow up speaking Māori. But in my head, I would say te reo was my first language.
Kia ora.
And why I say that is, if I had a choice, I'd speak te reo all the time, if I could.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hence Mahuri Māori is offspring of that philosophy. And a lot of the times when I'm speaking English or I hear someone else speaking Pākehā, in my head I'm quietly translating. I'm thinking, oh, how would I translate that?
Kōrero.
Yeah.
Kōrero.
Yeah, so that's my take on me being that Māori is my first language, the language I love, that's the language I have a passion for, that's the language that I would like to speak all the time.
Would it be fair to assume that you have been speaking Māori longer than you have been speaking English now? Your whakaaro Māori has surpassed your time of whakaaro Pākehā?
He tino pai tēnā pātai, that's a good question. I'd have to say yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say yes. I mean, I dream in te reo Māori now.
Ka pai, yep.
And I never used to.
Yep.
And I think that's a sign when you start dreaming in te reo Māori.
It is, yes.
Then that's a sign that there's been a shift in your brain.
So it's gone from consciousness to subconsciousness. Say that's it's well embedded.
Kōrero.
Kia ora. Yeah.
Tika tēnā. Anyway, our discussion today, it's quite a light discussion. It's about some of the things you might hear, some of the words and the way that people that have been brought up in te reo Māori, speaking about kaumātua, and even that's another kaupapa. What is a kaumātua?
Yes, yeah.
Kaumātua by age. I made a comment on Facebook the other day. I went to a Paukai in Kāwhia, and one of my uncles, Uncle Nick to Whāngai, he says to me, oh boy, I'm hoha of hearing people kua ngaro ngā kaumātua. And I said, oh yeah. And he goes to me, yeah. You know, when I hear someone say that, I tell them, grab a mirror and look in it, and you'll see the kaumātua looking back at you.
Kōrero.
Yeah. I think it's talking about the responsibilities that you have to take on yourself.
Yep.
When people say, you know, kua ngaro ngā kaumātua, they're talking about the caliber, I guess, of kaumātua that we had, you know, a long time ago, and there's only really a few left in every iwi.
So age is but a prereq or not even? Or...
Yeah. Kaumātua is the responsibilities that you have in your whānau hapu. And age may not necessarily, you know, you may be young, and you're doing the
job
having the responsibilities of a kaumātua. And I think it's how your people perceive you.
Yep.
It's not for yourself to call yourself a kaumātua. I'm not saying I'm a kaumātua, but what sort of sparked the whakaaro in me about kaumātua is one time I was speaking on the paipai. And my uncle Tom, he was also on the paipai. I opened, he closed. He said in his opening, he goes, ko tike I te kaumātua nei, tō mātai kaumātua I a praone, ngā whakaaro matua te whakatakoto. He said, our kaumātua praone has already covered some of the topics, main topics of discussion for today. And I was, he called me a kaumātua. And then I thought, how te kaumātua?
Aye, yes.
That leads us on to that sort of, we're talking about some of the kupu and ways of speaking that you'll hear.
And is a kaumātua only a male?
Well, that's another
Yeah, before we get on. So,
yeah. Well, I know, I think in some iwi, kaumātua are referred to as only males.
Yes.
And then in some, it's a blanket for that generation of whether they're male, koroua or
kuia.
female or kuia. So, yeah, I think it depends every sort of iwi, you know.
I have their own, okay.
Yeah, whether it's male. Pehe kia koutou.
Iaua.
Yeah.
Kare tino mōhio.
Because I've seen the same thing on a Facebook thread. Someone asked, was kaumātua for men or only for women?
Yeah, was it for the elderly or the...
Yeah. Classically, what I've been told is you became a kaumātua when, so karekau or mātua.
Oh, yeah.
Karekau or mātua. Mātua is the generation above you.
Aye.
So your parents have passed along with their generation, so you're senior in terms of whakapapa.
Yep.
So when no one else is left, then you become a kaumātua.
Oh, yep.
So kupu, we'll be talking about some of the words you may hear or the sentences and things. Ko te reo Māori tēnei. And as someone learning te reo Māori, and we're all learning te reo Māori, sometimes you hear these things and they might be really, really unfamiliar to you, particularly when they're all strung together and they're speaking it. Might not even be 100 miles per hour, but just the way that they speak. To start this conversation, I'll talk about something that happened during Mahuri Māori one night. We're having a few lemonades.
Communion.
Yes, and we happened to be singing some songs as we were, and we were all speaking te reo Māori. There's a group of about 4 or 5 of us, whānau. Someone sang a song and it was flat. The song was flat. And we've talked about kupu. I'm not sure if we've talked about kupu mino, which are borrowed words. Right. Or transliterations, or I've been told phonetic transcriptions.
Phonetic transcriptions?
Yes.
Kōrero.
And anyway, someone was flat, and I said, hey, kua fret tēnā waiata. Kua fret. Now, that's Māori. It's a kupu mino, fret for flat.
You may be surprised.
Fret, yeah. Now, you spell it Wherete. So if you were to read it like that, you would say ferete. But you don't say ferete. You say it very quickly and it comes out as fret.
Fret.
E frete ana tērā. Te tuahinera, Tei, she says, I roto I te reo, e ara tēnā I te kupu Māori? He kupu Pākehā ke te, you're speaking English, ke te kōrero Pākehā ke, and I said, kau, he kupu Māori tēnā, fret.
Yeah.
Well, everybody was cracking up laughing, thought it was funny, and then I went on to say, I was talking to I te kōrero ki tētai o mātou kuia, and I said, I te kōrero mo tētahi o tō mātou whānau. I says, mohia koe ki a mea, the kuia goes, ai, engare ko mate.
Ko mate.
And they cracked up laughing. Ko mate is kua mate.
Mate.
It's a funny thing that they do, and I find I do it too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but sometimes I think I'm doing it to, I don't know, not make fun of, but to sort of,
emphasize it, to make it apparent.
Because it's sort of like an inside joke now between me and others.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes it come, like myself and Nahuia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ko mate.
Ko mate.
And it means, they've passed on, or they've gone on, and it's not a very nice thing to be laughing. We're not laughing about them, but so those are nativisms, and it's very, very colloquial.
Yep.
So you would write it as kua mate, K-U-A, it's one word, and your second word is mate, M-A-T-E, but how the kua comes out is ko.
Yeah.
And the mate comes out as mate.
So I guess it's when, say you're so used to something that you don't use it as if you just learnt it. Eh?
That's right.
Like a language, and we do it with English as well.
Yeah.
Like the way we speak English, you'd have someone from another country, an English-speaking country, and they go, you speak too fast, or you didn't even finish that word.
We're very fast English speakers.
We are very fast English speakers.
Yeah.
So I guess I think it is with any other language, when you have a good command of it, you're able to not so much cut corners, but you normalize it. And you can see how hard it is for us to put a label on it, to say that it is colloquial itself, sort of really doesn't fit it. But nativisms. Nativism, like the word mōhio, I've heard people just say, ka mōho.
Well, I say more.
Yeah.
Depends in the sentence.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought it was a tūoi thing.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Manepoto use more.
And I think there is a level, say, when we're talking about kaumātua, they knew each other's iwi differences, but they had such a command that one would think that it came from a certain area, but it's probably how they all spoke at that
definitely.
age. Yeah.
That core,
Yeah.
I've noticed that you do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You say ko pai.
Yeah.
Or kua pai e.
Yeah, kua pai.
Within Tainui, I know the kua becomes ko a lot as well.
Ai.
In conversation. Ko haere ki reira, ko mōhio i nai nei, ko kōrero au. And you know, if you're listening to me just talking, everybody,
Out there.
you can hear the flow in the language, ko mōhio, ko
Yeah.
kōrero au. It's just easier to say ko instead of kua.
Kua, yeah.
And then there's the debate, would you write it as ko, would you write it as kua? But yeah, waiho tērā ki te taha. So that's one, the kua becomes ko. So if you might hear, you know, speakers using a lot of ko, a lot of the time it could be a kua.
Yeah.
Ko haere au ki reira, I've been there. Ko kōrero au ki ai, I've spoken to him. Ko mōhio koe, you've known now.
Yep.
Ko kai au.
Yeah.
Whereas if,
Ko kai koe. Ko
Yeah.
kai koe.
Ko kai koe.
Ko kai au.
And you know, if someone was listening, they've just learnt te reo, and someone says to them, ko kai koe, which translated to mean, are you food? And they- Yeah, no, I'm not food. But they're actually asking if you've eaten.
We've eaten, yes.
Yeah, ko kai koe. Ko kai koe. So ko is one, the kua becomes ko, and then of course the mat. Mat is one.
Mat.
And then another one is the hoki.
Hoki.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some
yeah,
places, but particularly in Tūhoi, a lot of their hoki become hoki.
Yeah.
Koe a hoki. Hei a koe hoki.
I think it is when the vowel I is at the end, or E.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's easy to cut it off just the way that the tongue and the teeth are.
yeah.
Me ko haere tawhiti.
Tawhiti.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haere tawhiti.
Haere tawhiti.
Hara mai is another one I've heard.
Yeah.
So haere mai or haere mai or hara mai becomes hamai.
Amai.
Hamai one.
Yeah.
Haere mai ki kone. Hamai ki kone.
I do that a lot with my little ones because it's easier.
Yeah.
When they catch it, I say amai.
Rongo koe.
Amai. Yeah.
I rongo koe becomes rongo koe.
Rongo koe? Yeah.
I say mōhio koe a lot now.
Ai.
Mōhio koe. We really should say e mōhio ana koe.
Mōhio
Or
ana
kei
koe.
te mōhio koe.
Yeah. Or me mōhio koe.
Yeah, or me mōhio koe.
Yeah.
You can say mōhio koe. Mōhio koe.
I think as you're learning to be mindful of that stuff,
Yes.
there's nothing to say that you can't use that, but as long as you know why or how it's been used. Another one is kauke. They say it up north a lot.
Oh, what is it? Kauke.
Kauke. Kare kauke.
Kauke.
Yeah.
Kare kauke.
Yeah, but I've seen a kaumātua writing his thing and it says kauke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what's that word?
Yeah.
And as I learn, I go to look it up and there's no kauke, or
Yeah.
it means something else. But understanding that that's what they do, put words together, and,
Yeah.
and it's a hake te me.
Well, it's very, you know, conversational.
Very.
You know, when you learn te reo Māori, you're learning your sentence structures, and someone asks you a question, kei whea te puka puka, and you answer them because you've been taught to, the whole answer, kei runga te puka puka I te tepu.
Aye.
The book is on the table. Now, we wouldn't really say that in English. So where's the book? On the table.
The book is upon the table.
Yeah. And so in Māori, you'd simply answer, kei te tepu.
Kei te tepu.
Kei whea, kei te whare.
Can you say I te tepu?
Yeah.
Aye.
Well, it was.
Well, it was, yeah.
I te tepu.
I te tepu.
Yeah. So that's another nativism, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it's the deconstruction of sentences to make things easier,
Yep.
but they still communicate the message. But while they communicate the message, they are still correct.
Yes.
It's a Māori way, you know, and that's the thing, I guess. Know the language first.
Yep.
You need to learn te reo Māori before you start speaking like a native, and someone thinks you're a native, and then they start bringing out all the native.
Yeah, dropping all the nativisms
Yeah,
and
and
your...
Taiwa.
Toro me ana.
Yeah.
Or you might be going kōrero.
Yeah. Wait.
And then laying it on you. Even the word roto, when people saying roto, but in actual fact they're translating, say, what's the kupu? Oh, there's an instance where you don't have to use the word in.
Yeah.
It's just ite.
Yes.
I think that's for learners, because my partner asked me something the other day and I said, you don't have to say roto.
Yeah.
Because it's a part of, it's not And
But it sort of brings you, though, to, we're talking about I haven't heard it much lately, but there was a time there, and I don't know, you might hear it, with our kids, and you'd say, oh, mahi o mahi, and they'd be like, kei te,
yeah, or kua.
I am,
Yeah.
or kua, I have. In our mind, we're saying that's karite rai tika ana, that's
Aye.
not right, but in their minds,
In their minds, yeah, because they've grasped that concept through however they've learnt it, but then to say, well, there's a better way to say that, or there's the proper way to say it. The best ones, if you want to have nativisms, listen to the Karaua. Is it Karaua? There's a series, or any old marae profilings of kaumātua kui and how they speak.
yeah,
And sometimes you really need to rely on some subtitles, and some of those people that do ngā kupu hauraro, they really have to be as sharp, man,
yes,
to try and get the gist
yeah,
of what these native speakers are saying, because it might just sound like a different pitch of sounds.
yeah,
There's one kaumātua I was watching, I forgot, they were profiling kaumātua of the Tūhoe area. And he had no teeth, and he was older, and he was in about his 90s, and that made it even harder.
all right,
But i te whakaaro,
yeah,
ka aroha ki ngā mea tū kupu hauraro. I feel sorry for the ones that have to subtitle this.
yeah. I think with the subtitling, that's a big job.
Yeah, very big job.
And sometimes I think, particularly with the documentaries, you actually need to sit down with some of those kaumātua later
Yes.
and ask them if you're unsure, because, a lot of them, they use kiwaha, and I see them all the time, he tahi o nā subtitle.
Yep.
And tino hēnei, he tahi o nā kōrero. And, we're going back to kiwaha. This is what makes up any sort of language, is the idiom, the
idioms,
colloquialisms, the sayings, metaphor, those sorts of things and expressions. That's what you work up to, is to have a good command of them. My mum used to say ha all the time. I'll give an example of ha. I was at a kura reo. This is the example I actually used in the kura reo, because I was teaching these kupu. I saw someone that should have been going to class. All I said was, ha. And they said, oh, me haere au ki te tākuta. So just in my ha, that person knew I was saying to them, asking them, ha, why aren't you going to class? You should be going to class. All in that. Ha. Yeah, so you can use that quite a lot. Ha, I ki ka pēne koe ngari pēra. You said you're going to do this, but you didn't. Yeah, so there's a pātai in there, there's a question in that. Ha, and actually that's one you can learn.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
a good one.
But
Ha.
it's got to come naturally.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is when your worldview is of a culture or a language, or, so we're talking when your worldview is Māori, when you're dreaming Māori, your subconscious is Māori, your expressions are going to be that.
Yeah.
So we talk in a New Zealand twang, right? So we say things and things go up
Aye.
all the time when we say things, and we listen to people on TV and they talk up and finish a question. I've always asked about the way that we ask questions in Māori. You can hear a lot of people, when I hear it in our broadcasting, speaking in te reo, but with a Pākehā inflection, if that's right, with a Pākehā rangi.
Yeah.
Do you have examples
Well, I
of...
never even thought of that until just maybe a couple of years ago in I te kōrero mātou ko Pānea ko Leon. They were talking about how te pātai roto I te reo should go down.
Aye,
So they go, hei nu mau?
aye, e nu mau.
Yeah, hei nu mau.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you like something to drink? Would you like something to drink? Hei nu mau, he kai mau, instead of he kai mau.
Aye, aye. And because our sentence structure is different to Pākehā, I've heard questions and they're long sentences, and so he's going up and up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
I don't think sometimes it suits our language, our real structure. Our island whanaunga, they do it downwards as well. I think that's another thing to be mindful of, or to observe. We have our own rangi.
Yep.
Like other languages have their own rangi. I know in, I believe it's Korean, when they raise their voice, and listeners, you may be able to correct me on this, when they raise their voice, they're giving you an enhancement of mana, what they're doing, they're holding you in high prestige. But if you didn't know that, you'd think they're yelling at you.
Yeah. Well, you could get that, going into a marae, and if someone does a hard out whai kōrero and you don't know what they're on, you think that they're yelling at you
They
too.
think you're getting growled, but they're saying, haramai, haramai. Yeah.
When I speak on the marae, that's sort of how I speak.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you should speak with a commanding voice on the marae. But I know some are quiet.
Yep.
Those are all part of, te reo Māori, the questions, how you say things,
Yep.
the tone. Koe naka tōna me e Māori ake ei tō tātou reo.
Aye.
That's what makes te reo Māori Māori.
Māori, yep.
And I know I do sort of, I don't know if commiserate's the right word, but with speakers that are learning, and I mean, we're all learning, but, you know, ones that are always getting, not told off, but being told that, oh, that's not the Māori way of saying it, or, you know, that's not how you'd say it in Māori. And I used to be one of those people.
Yep.
But now, people that are just starting out, I'm like, oh, let's just let them get a grasp of the language first, you know, and then maybe in a couple of years, you know, when they're ready, we can start talking about tone and things like that, and, you know, pehe te tangi o te reo, e rāhuatanga katoa. Even tikanga, there's a tikanga in how we speak. That's another nativism, and just to touch on this, you shouldn't really ask someone if they're hungry.
Oh, yeah.
Kare pai ki te whakaaro Māori. So now we're seeing philosophy and language. This is psycholinguistics, I think, now.
Kōrero.
Kōrero. You say, I roto e te reo, e he kaimau. You don't say, e ia kai ana koe. Because you put them in a predicament.
Yes.
This is if they're manuhiri, so it's, you know, it's different if it's you and your mates or something, and then going out for munching, te he kai koe. But when someone's coming to your home, and you're hosting them, there's a tikanga about how you should, the way you talk to them.
Yeah.
And kai is a big one. So if they're full and they say, kao e pai ana, it can come across to the host as being rude.
As rude, yes, very much so.
And the other one is if they are hungry, they'll feel embarrassed. They might feel whakamātas.
Oh, no, kei te pai.
Yeah, exactly.
And hararu tuna ana te whuka.
Yeah. So they might feel whakamā to actually not admit, but express that they are. So those are nativisms too.
Yep.
Our tikanga and our worldview wraps around and is in the reo that we use.
Yes.
So you should have to kai there and just say, he kai mai.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, if you are the manuhiri, in this case, the visitor, and if you're wondering, this is kupu, not tikanga 101, but i roto i te whakaaro Māori, ko te reo, ko te tikanga he kotahi. Kaore tetehi ki te kāhore tetehi. I roto i te whakaaro Māori. So you can't have language and not have tikanga.
Yep.
So if you're the manuhiri and someone asks and they've put some kai down, even if you've eaten, you should at least have something that they've, you know, and kanui
even partaking in a cup of tea.
Yeah, just have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
There's only been a couple of times where I've gone to marae and stuff and we haven't stayed to have a kai because that's seen as rude as well.
Yeah.
Just taking off. Yeah, so even those are nativisms, the tikanga around how you talk to people, how you ask for things. One that I heard, and I use all the time now, when you welcome someone to your home, you don't say, haere mai ki tō mātou kainga. So you don't say, don't come to our, meaning just my home. You say, haere mai ki tō tātou kainga. So you make it inclusive. You use that at the table as well. One of our kuia, ko mati te kuia nei, Neni Manga, her mokopuna speaks like this, Jared. Now I use it because I naturally use it, so he won't say ho mai te, because even that, I roto i ngā wāmua, there's all these customs around how you speak at the table. Traditionally, you ate what was in front of you, and to ask for something down in front of someone else can be seen seen as rude, even if it's just the salt, or the
or the butter.
The butter.
Yeah.
So a nice way of asking, a very Māori way of asking, is the tone you use, and then just this sentence. So you look and you say to the person, "No, tātāwa tote."
Tātāwa tote.
Our salt. And then they know. So you're not actually saying ho mai. So that's another way you can do it. I'm not saying don't say ho mai te tote. You can say ho mai te tote.
Hey, tote.
Tote, pei.
Hey.
Whala. So tātāwa tote. Ātāwa prawa.
Ātāwa prawa,
Yeah, our bread, our salt. So that's another way, So those are also nativisms.
You're constantly enhancing the mana of others.
Yeah.
So you maintain your mana as well.
Yeah.
If I may put it as such.
Koe nā te me nui.
Yes, aye.
The Māori worldview and how it influences how we talk.
Aye.
How we talk and how we communicate with one another. Kōrero.
Kōrero.
Nō reira e te iwi, e kōrero anō tāua. I think we covered quite a lot in there.
Yeah.
Anei tā tātou waiata, mō tēnei wiki, waiata of the week is
Rerenga wairua.
Rerenga wairua.
Rerenga wairua.
I've said lots on Taringa that every time. Oh, this is one of my favourite waiata. So
this is one of the all-time favourites.
But it is one of my favourite.
Yeah.
It's become an anthem of the North, the northern peoples. We had a few taitokere kōrero in our kupu today.
Coming now. Penny, still waiting for you, Penny.
Yeah, I reckon.
Penny.
We'll tie that to, actually, I think that's maybe why it was 4 pennies. Hoi anō, anei tātou waiata, composed by the late Pumi Taituha.
Aye.
And there's a verse that isn't sung, which talks about tūranga waiwai and the links between Waikato and Tainui Waka and the people of the North.
That'd be cool to learn.
Yeah. I've had it maybe twice. Kei ngā kupu. But it's not sung. The tune that he had is different to the tune that we know today.
Okay, yeah.
And the tune you're going to hear. Hoi anō, anei tātou te waiata, le renga wairua.
Le renga wairua tēnā whakarongo mai. Papakitu ana ngā tae o te tokere. One rā he tangata rangatira e. O te aukauri ngā puhi nui tonu e. Taku ara taku mana he wahine whakaiti. Reitu te wahine ro tae nui waka e. Marena o ue one e. Ka putaka ora tātou te iwi mauri e. Oreira e te iwi kua muturangi. Akutangi kōrero, akutangi tikanga e. Koro, ko ue one Mana ki tanga o te runga rawa e. Mana ki tanga o te runga rawa e.
And that's how Ue One met Reitu.
Yep. And actually, that'll be a nice once upon a timer.
That would be a very nice once upon a timer.
Yep, there's an idea for...
We may even have a chance to correct a few things.
That'd be good. Hoi anō e te iwi, koe nā tātou kōrero mo tēnei wā irunga I te pāhotanga nei o Taringa. And tēnā koutou. Thank you again.
Koutou.
And actually, just to wrap up, just a thank you to everybody that's been engaging in the Facebook page. There's some good whakaaro coming out on there and some good pātai. So tēnā koe te katoa. Yep, hope you enjoyed this installment of Taringa, Kupu. He kupu whakamutunga au e hoa.
No maua te whiwhi.
Yeah.
It is our privilege.
Yes, taitoko anau I tērā kōrero. Just very, very quickly. 30, 40 years ago when the struggle was going on, and it hasn't stopped, but in the Ngā Tamatoa days and in that period of
activation.
Yes, activation.
The activation.
You know, those people then with the petition for Te Reo Māori.
Yes.
So many things came from that. Te wānanga o Aotearoa was one of them. Taringa is also one of them.
Yes.
So, e mihi ana, no tātou katoa te whiwhi, no tātou katoa te waimari e. No reira, e mihi ana, tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora.
Ki o, whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako. Kōrero flowing out the hooker force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā ko nā whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira whakarongo pi kari mai. Hare mai, o Taringa hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
Taringa. Brought to you by Te Wānanga o Aotearoa. To listen to more episodes, search for us on your podcast app and subscribe. Taringa, whakarongo mai.